This is Scott Hughes. I'm the Chief Inspirational Officer for Schools and Families Engaged. I recently had the opportunity to attend the Winds of Change Conference, a new era for parental, family, and community involvement, located in Baltimore, Maryland. The conference was held by the National PIRC Coordination Center, a project of the Southeast Development Lab, the Harvard Family Research Project, and the MECO Group. During all my years of focused attention on family engagement in schools, this was by far the most informative and focused conference discussing and sharing concepts on how to effectively engage parents and families. One of the first comments I heard out of the box during that conference was this: we have great kids that deserve great schools. The PIRC report was also given. Again, PIRC stands for Parental Involvement Resource Centers. And since 2004, PIRCs have been sponsoring parent organizations across the country, in every state and territory in the Union tied to the United States of America. Remember this: PIRCs are here to focus on the other 50% of education. The first 50% is those schools and the teachers and administrators, and those who are making an impact on our children. But the reality is, parent and family and community involvement is the other 50% of education for our students. That is the support they need, and that is their focus, is to help them become more successful as a student by engaging and involving parents, families, and the community. One of my first lessons came from the Colorado Statewide Parent Coalition, their PIRC out there in Colorado. They simply talked about parent leadership team models that go on in schools and what they've started to implement. First thing to understand again is principals must be bought in. Well, that's been true in our own organization with schools and families engaged in our safe teams that are on campus. The principal has got to be bought in. Another thing is understand it's all about student achievement. You know, we're going to be able to keep our schools safe with the safe team, but also why do we do that? Because you want to make sure that students can achieve more, do more, become better, become great in their school. They tied that right in there. Another thing to remember, though, is why parents don't get involved. The reality is, two-income families, no training for some parents, there are a multitude of things that are out there of why parents do not jump on board and get involved in their schools. And we got to break down that barrier to make it more successful. During that breakout session, talking more about the parent leadership team, one of the things they talked about was just simply, how do you get the parents to start communicating and become more open? And they thought, we need to help people understand each other more. So they did 5 simple breakout questions on that. And they had every person, every one of us as an attendee actually answered this. What is your name? What is your place of birth? Which culture do you identify with? What's your vision and what's your values? When you take those 5 topics right there, and you share about yourself, you really start to know more about the individuals that you're involved with. I also had the opportunity to hear Arnold Faggy speak, and he shared that the parent involvement gap needs to decrease to increase student achievement. He said, this is a public will issue. Will our poor kids get a high-quality education? He said poor kids suffer from a shortage of lower-quality schools and fewer high-tech schools. 54% of the students in the South of the United States are in poverty. Did you realize that 80% of all Anglo students go to nearly all Anglo schools? I mean, folks, we're more segregated now than we were 25 years ago. He said it's not about moving new students onto new schools. That's not what's going to improve it. What will sharing power with the community do to the power within schools? See, PIRCs focus on helping lower income and minority school situations. Why? Because they need their community. They need to increase the family and get things rolling. What if parents and community came first in reform policy? One of the leaders with the Harvard Project, Karen Mapp, stated something very simply. She said, school leaders do not know how to engage families. She said there's an open window to teach and train and do in-service training on how to engage families, because they do know that when there are more parents and families and community involved with their students in education, that they start to improve and excel and achieve as students. They know it. We have to be able to step up and provide that for them and train them on how to make this happen. I had the opportunity to hear Jessica Strauss speak during another breakout session. She really kind of opened my mind up to, today's culture within schools. One of the things she mentioned, parents are even overwhelmed with their own lives. I mean, they're so overwhelmed there, some of them don't even know how to then adjust back and help their own child. Also, she said, all schools should be the centers of their communities. The school should be the center of the community. These are the community students, their kids, their children. This ought to be the center of the community, and how we make that school great to help support their community. She also mentioned parents are leaders and not just clients. said the reality is a principal can get help from someone who is very successful in their life and those who are being evicted out of their homes right now. People can provide positive things and support to a school community, no matter what their status or situation may be. And remember, power of the parent. It can be the well-educated to the illiterate. Parents make an impact in their children's lives. After having the opportunity to sit through many of the workshops, and I closed out with a workshop where multiple PIRCs were sharing their success stories. And one of the conclusions I came to was simply that schools and families engaged, known as the Safe Team on Campus, our program, the one thing many people are looking for is how do you even start parents in school? There are so many things that will take parents to the next level and teach them to become better and be trained. But the reality is, some people are just trying to get started. Their experience in school wasn't a great one when they left school. The last time they left it, they weren't planning on coming back. We help parents get started again in school, not just boom, let's just start training them and getting them. Some of them aren't ready for that. They need a way to step in one toe at a time and get started back in school and rebuild that trust and excitement for what their students are going through that school and how they can help.